They look like you. You were one of them. They come from all ethnic backgrounds. Man, woman, child. Unprotected by Jesus Christ, I believe that anyone can be entered by Satan at any time. They can appear as church leaders, police officers, military, the bank teller, the receptionist, anyone. They look no different than you or I. Some of us have noticed that they like to give a telling grin. Sometimes they like to mock.
Come here.
And one of the classic signs is they're knowing things about you that they should not know.
One of the realities or characteristics that you need to see if a person is possessed is one of the signs. You need 4 signs. An extraordinary strength, the knowledge of ancient languages, fear of sacred things, and the knowledge of hidden or very far away things. I think that the 3 first can be invented. I can fake an extraordinary force. I can talk to you in Latin or Greek because I remember it from school. I can fake that I'm afraid of the crucifix. I can fake it. But what I cannot invent or cannot fake is to know things that really happened in your life that is just absolutely impossible for me to know.
Well, you always go to the common sense. Well, maybe she overheard us talking, or she heard a conversation that we had, or maybe her mother knew something about us that, she just inadvertently, blurted out to her. Maybe she read something about us on the internet, on the website. You try to have those common sense approaches to things, but sometimes you just know there's no way they could have known that. There are very personal things about our families, personal events that have happened, like, say, that morning. There's no possible way. Something I didn't even talk about with my colleagues. How would they know that? I can't explain it.
Time is on my side. Yes, it is. Time is on my side. Yes, it is.
Lou.
What? You always saying that you wanna be free, but I'm running back.
When a person becomes targeted by the demonic, often they'll find themselves on web searches that lead them to terms like targeted individual and gangstalking. You'll be presented at that time with a couple of different options, varying in levels and degrees. But essentially, your options are government conspiracy involving microwave weapons and things like voice-to-skull technology, where people hear voices in their head. Or it's presented in terms of Satan versus God, New World Order agendas being fulfilled, demons coming after people, biblical prophecy coming to fruition. I believe that the first, government conspiracy, technology narrative, while potentially partially true, is actually part of the demonic deception. Because what it does is traps an individual into never activating their faith and recognizing what it truly is, and that is the demonic coming after you to keep you from claiming your freedom in Jesus Christ. Let's look for a minute at the clip that we just showed you from the movie Fallen starring Denzel Washington, where James Gandolfini's character starts singing a song that Denzel Washington had heard long ago when a prisoner was executed. Had Denzel gotten on the World Wide Web that night and done some research, he may have come to the conclusion that all the people at his work suddenly collaborated together to turn against him. He might also believe that it involved some vast conspiracy involving law enforcement, since it happened at a police precinct involving police officers. However, anyone who's watched this movie knows that what is actually happening is that a spirit is moving in and out of people to harass Denzel Washington's character. Once the spirit is no longer manifesting, if you were to confront one of these individuals, they claim ignorance and don't know what you're talking about, as exhibited in this scene.
you singing that song?
Song?
The song. Why were you singing that song?
I was singing
They
something?
put you up to this? Why were you singing that song?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
As you start to look at the two options before you, even though both will challenge your previous worldview, one starts to stand out ahead of the pack. Either all the world governments, your local community, all the way down to the receptionist at your doctor's office, the teller at your bank, the cashier at the store, your co-workers, family members, loved ones, have all been paid to harass your person, to know things somehow about you that they couldn't possibly know, which would mean that it's all kept in a file somewhere. Maybe it's technology that's putting voices into your head. Or Jesus Christ is real, and this is a war that has been going on for a very long time between God and his adversary. While we're on the subject of voice-to-skull technology and having voices in one's head, I want to offer you part of the testimony of someone named Martha Joy here on YouTube. She's a fellow, quote, targeted individual who found that Jesus Christ was actually her answer. And she actually explored the whole voice-to-skull and technology theory originally and recognized that it was a deception.
You know, like I said, I only bought a computer 2 or 3 months ago because I wanted to reach out and share my experience. You know, I started watching some videos online. I started finally starting to check out, you know, what this could be. And I looked into mental illness first, of course, to educate myself. And you know, it was around that I started thinking, okay, it's going to be okay. Just keep praying. Just keep working on it. And it was around that time I started to get texts and cryptic ones and phone calls. And I thought, this is, you know, I'm not crazy. This is something, you know. So I got on YouTube and started searching, and I stumbled on targeted individuals. I'd never heard that term before. I didn't know there was anyone out there like me. And I watched a few of the videos, but I gotta tell you, that reasoning makes absolutely no sense. You know, someone's not constantly following you through satellites and communications through cell phones. You know, like, think about it. When you go to the dentist, do they call ahead at the dentist's office and be like, she's coming in at 10 o'clock, be ready, and fill them in? Or when you go to work, have your coworkers have been approached and they're recruited into the program, and no one's going to say a word or, you know, or let on. And you know, your family has turned on you and they've been recruited into the program, you know, and just think about the thousands, if not millions of people it would take to be in that network to stalk you and attack you, and all the other thousands of people that I've found out there who are targeted. And and it's completely hidden. There's no word of it at all. Not one person, you know, has come forward. Or if they do, they've got some story about how they have a certain radio station that they can listen on and hear you and get filled in, or they're all communicating through cell phones. I think those people are liars. I think that they've been demonized. You know, it's a satanic network. They are satanic, and they want to spread lies and confusion. You know, there's no way that you say you're going into the store to buy some groceries, and as soon as you walk out with your groceries, suddenly, a message appears on their phone and they repeat it to you because they know that's what they're supposed to say. Or, with the voices, it's like there's just no way they could know that. There are, I believe, some microwave weapons. I do believe that. And I do believe that they are, the voice of God, that they do have technology, where they can use electrical pulses to communicate. But there's no way that I feel that they're that sophisticated. The demon knew exactly, for the very second, even if it was a quiet thought, just kind of in the back of my head, and they'd shout it. Or they knew how I was feeling, my emotions, and when I would pray and start reading the Bible and focusing, it will go away. And I think that, they're satanic, and they're not going to stop. They want you to commit suicide. They want to drag you into hell. They're not going to stop. So if it was technology, I would have no way to protect myself. They would just go on and on and on and on and on. And it stopped. It has stopped. And I don't hear anything at all. And I don't believe that they would stop until I was dead. If I did not have the protection of God, that salvation through Christ. If it was technology, it would still be going on.